The teacher is a liar. On the first day of class, he was teased by the students and his bag was robbed by a boy. Just then, the headmaster pushed the door and came in and asked him what the boy had done. When Matthew told the lie, the boy could not believe it, which was completely different from the three views he had established for a long time. The boy escaped, but he avenged. Out of curiosity about the clip bag, they smashed the cabinet and stole the contents. The three guys hid in the toilet to study what it was. The children who had never seen the score thought it was Morse code. Just then Matthew came. The children immediately stuffed the score behind them. Matthew rushed in to get the score back. This scene was discovered by another teacher. This morning, Matthew had just arrived at this school, which was more like a prison than a school. Here, the multi-duty Marson led him the way, and the heavy iron gate looked like a prison gate. As soon as he came in, he saw a child kneeling on the ground to clean up, and behind him was a fence. Marson told him that this was the headmaster's punishment for him, and the term was 15 days. However, it was just the beginning that opened his eyes. Marson wanted to show him around the infirmary, only to find that the door could not be opened. When the headmaster appeared, Matthew came forward to say hello with a full face of laughter, but the headmaster had a stinking face, and looked high on top. Suddenly, there was a scream behind him, accompanied by the sound of broken glass, and Marson's eyes were injured. The headmaster knew which child must have done it. He did not find a doctor for Marson in the first place, but asked Matthew to ring the bell at the door and gather all the students together. The headmaster's handling method is simple and crude. The child should admit it voluntarily within T. He called Matthew and gave him a book, asking him to randomly select a student to punish. Matthew could only choose one hastily. Who would have thought that he had chosen a relatively honest student? No way, rules are rules, innocent boys can only accept punishment. Not only that, the principal also threatened the students to expose as soon as possible, but in Matthew's view, this was encouraging small reports. The last teacher couldn't wait to leave here. On his arm were the unforgettable marks left by these children. He actually knows who did the trap. He asked Matthew to pay attention to two children, one named Xiaole, the guy who made the trap, and the other named Xiaomo. He has the face of an angel, not many words, but has a devil's heart. Finally, he gave Matthew a piece of advice. If the child makes a mistake, the best way is to puni. Matthew is looking for Xiaole in his class, only to find that Xiaole is the guy who robbed his bag. Matthew wants to take him to the headmaster, but on the way he sees the headmaster taking a boy to the office and carrying out cruel corporal punishment. Matthew therefore changes his mind. Puni. Back in the classroom, he asked all the children to write down their dreams. Unexpectedly, everyone wrote, except one child. When we first met, he waited at the school gate, looking forward to his father coming to pick him up on a sunny Saturday. Now his dream may be that Saturday will come soon. In the evening, Matthew read the students' dreams. He had everything he wanted to do, but he didn't want to be a teacher. The next day, Xiaole appeared in front of Ma San's bed as promised. Fortunately, Ma San's eyes were not seriously affected. Instead of blaming him, he understands that there are no bad kids in school, just that every child needs to be understood. Xiaomo changed at 1 o'clock, and just the score incident left him in the mood to rock bottom. In the evening Matthew returned to his bedroom, and found a boy singing. Instead of blaming, Matthew corrects the boy's pitch. Funny couple. A boy asked about the sheet music, and it poked Matthew's pain. After the lights went out, he lay in bed and couldn't sleep. The disappointment of reality made him swear that he would never touch the music again, but the good voices he heard tonight awaken his dream. Maybe these kids aren't hopeless.
Il y a toujours quelque chose à tenter.
Marson had to leave school because his wound worsened. Xiaole asked with guilt. That I saw. After the principal's class in the afternoon, he stopped a student. He was Xiaomo with an angel face. The headmaster noticed that Xiaomo had taken notes for a class, but he knew very well that Later, the principal opened Xiaomo's desk, and found a painting inside, expressing his dissatisfaction with the principal, and Xiaomo was locked up for this. The teachers talked about the youngest Beckham in the class. His parents died in the war, but Beckham never thought so. He believed all the teachers in this school believe in a word. X5. In the afternoon, Xiaomo's mother came to visit her son. In order to let him not worry, Matthew lied that he had been sent to get his teeth done. He brought Xiaomo a change of clothes. Matthew also learned about the difficulties. Xiaomo is withdrawn, always playing truant, and being dismissed by public schools. Mother can do nothing, just ask Xiaomo to eat here. Matthew started the journey of healing. He assigned the right position according to the children's voice. Beckham, who could not sing, became Matthew's as he makes every child worth something. All Black Rice Fever invented Black Belly. Ladies and gentlemen, masters of the people. Very handsome. In this way, the choir first took shape. Matthew has written the story of the school into a song that captures the children's ambition. In order for the choir to go smoothly, he hoped to get the principal's support, but the principal thought it was nonsense. No, sheet. Your disher. Ah, dare not surprise step. The headmaster agreed to the establishment of the choir with the mentality of seeing jokes. In doing that millet stow, the neat singing of the students attracted him, and the gears of fate began to turn. Take everyone out of the classroom. Xiaomo quietly came to the platform. On this day, the school received a lie, some problems in the mind of the students Mengdan. He was like a demon, singing filthy songs in front of the children. But instead of punishing, Matthew assigned him a crooning spot. Xiaoma's punishment was finally over. Matthew asked him to join them. In the afternoon, Xiaomo was airing sheets when Mountain suddenly appeared. It was rumored that Xiaoma's mother sent him in for her own happiness. Xiaomo had a fight with him, and Montaigne was locked up for it. Don't stop me. Way. In order to confirm Mana's story, Xiaomo secretly left school, and went to the restaurant where his mother worked to confirm with his own eyes that he was not that kind of person. This is reassuring back to school. Matthew did not punish Xiaomo either, although it was not clear what he had done. In the evening, Matthew found Beckham sitting on the stairs. Only then did he know that Montaigne bullied him, and refused to let him go to bed without paying. Matthew was on fire. He came to the canteen. Mountain took a child and made mistakes with him. Matthew wanted him to go back to SL.
Tout ce que je viens de voir là, le festin.
When will you understand more? Let's go live. I heard it. Don't. He wasn't the idea.
Je t'interdis même de le regarder. Est-ce que c'est clair?
Ah, so do I want that. On Matthew's way back to the dormitory, he heard the sound of nature coming from the classroom. Send. Well, I'll just. Ah, you live talking. Where more than 3,000? Xiaomo wants to run away. Matthew stops him. He knows that everything Xiaomo does has a reason. Matthew asked him to join the choir rehearsal from tomorrow on, and the students listened more and more to Matthew's words. He was delicate and silent, nourishing the children's hearts. Use your heart to correct Xiaoma's direction. This day Matthew saw Xiaoma's mother come, immediately changed. Matthew told little Mo. He hopes to ease the relationship between mother and son through his own efforts. As it turns out, he did. The children inspired Matthew, and he began to create this prison again, and gradually had the appearance of a school. Bright laughter over the high walls dispel. Seeing the scene in front of him, the headmaster was thoughtful, while Mountain almost lived in the brig because he always made mistakes. The headmaster came downstairs and little Matthew complained that someone had scribbled. The football suddenly flew into the headmaster's face in a storm sud. Later, Uncle Maisang also returned safely, and what greeted him was no longer a prank, but a heavy, loving yearning. However, a bad thing happened that changed the situation. The principal discovered that the school's money had been stolen and Mondain had escaped, and he naturally became the. What was terrible was that the headmaster had called off the choir, and Matthew had no choice but to say anything more. It wasn't long before the police brought Mountain back. Whatever the principal. He didn't want to admit it. Why do you say blood cells, cell membranes? In the end, on this day, Xiaomo found Matthew and his mother were very close. Soon, Matthew tasted Xiaoma's strength. When the mother knew her son had done it, he turned around and left the school in disappointment. Matthew escorted all the way and hoped that he would send Xiaomo to the conservatorio. But like most parents, Xiaoma's mother hopes that he can have a stable job, but Matthew's words make him change his mind. That is, Xiaomo will become the person he is destined to be. In this way, he got on the return bus, while Matthew deliberately cancelled Xiaoma's solo, which was Matthew's poo. Matthew's choir is famous, and the countess who sponsors the school is about to bring friends to visit the school. Xiaoma's mother invited him to meet alone. Matthew thought his spring was coming, but he didn't think he was just grateful. After meeting Matthew, his life became lucky. He gained love. From now on, life will not be so difficult. In the end, Matthew is making wedding clothes for others. It was not long before the countess visited. He was curious about whose idea the choir was. The headmaster had the cheek to say that it was his idea. Matthew had no choice but to echo it. Xiaomo could only watch everyone sing in chorus, while Matthew had his own plan. Say what? Monk Al.
Et dans les yeux de Morange qui suivait si bien ma mesure,
It is Li Jie, who cares about eating meat.
de la fierté, la joie d'être pardonné, mais aussi, et c'était bien nouveau pour lui,
I can't live or die with you. That day, Marcin called him out. While cleaning up, he found the money the headmaster had lost. It turned out that it was the little guy who stole the money, and the purpose of his stealing was to buy a hot air balloon. Matthew wants to rehabilitate Mondain, but the principal doesn't care. Because of the choir, the principal ushered in a good opportunity for promotion, but a phone call made him have to give up all this. Smoke billowed from the school. The lives of 60 children were uncertain, and opportunities for advancement burned before his eyes. However, at this moment, the fire was not an accident, but a silent revolt by Mondain. Instead of thanking Matthew for this, The headmaster fired him and even deprived him of the right to see the children for the last time. Matthew left school alone. He imagined that several children could disobey orders to say good. He thought about it or not, and when he walked to the window outside the classroom, he found that the children were Na's little wife, the woman who opens the teaching institute tomorrow. You all ask you to say yes.
Les fautes d'orthographe, c'était Pépino, naturellement. Cet autre, avec ses notes de musique.
Baby's heart also do not have. Travel too. You are a woman. The children bid farewell to the teacher in their own way. The principal asked the children to shut up, but the classroom door was locked, and Matthew left the school with the children singing. Years later, Xiao Mo is a well-known musician. A man came to the door that night. He was expecting his father to pick him up on Saturday. He brought a diary. Old Bay said that this diary was Matthew's, but all the stories recorded in it were Xiao Ma's stories. Time seemed to return to childhood. Not long after Matthew left, his mother picked him up. Because of the problem of Xiao Mo going to school, he left the man and took Xiao Mo to the conserva. Later, the two teachers of the school, together with Ma Sang, exposed the principal's punishment and expelled the principal from the school. One more thing, when Matthew boarded the bus, he found Beckham escaped from the school. He wanted Matthew to take him with him. Matthew asked him to her. Beckham could only watch pitifully, but when the bus was ready to leave, Matthew stopped the driver and chose to take him away. And today happens to be Saturday. At this point, the whole film ends. The school's iron gate, heavy black gate, foggy school and internal iron fence all create a glue. The closed school is like the spiritual world of children, and the way of punishment for mistakes will lock the children firmly in it. Matthew's score concretized the hot heart of being a teacher. He brought music to this school, and the music was beautiful. He soothed the boredom and the heat. That hot heart is like a sun, dispelling the darkness in the children's world, and rebuilding the children's outlook on life and values. It is also necessary to give the child enough time. The headmaster's countdown time is only 3 seconds, which represents a person's patience, while Matthew G. It takes time, but it is also the best way to affect it. Children are not born perfect, they can be guided. In contrast to reality, what teachers can do is limited, and more often they need to change their consciousness. If the teacher helps you, it is the best opportunity. Matthew's music is just a way of influence. He can be caring, protecting, helping. I am understanding, respect and tolerance. The headmaster has a pet phrase, if you do anything, then I am a big fool. The principal said it himself. Not expensive stuff. What's your address? From the very beginning, he hated Matthew. Perhaps he just hated himself who had tried to change these children with a piece of sincerity. What he hated was the loser he had once. He just fell deeply into the trap he had dug, which was the illusion that punishment for making mistakes brought age. The real change is from the inside out. The principal restrains the children's behavior, while Matthew dispels the dark period in the children's hearts. When Matthew succeeded in changing the child, the principal expelled him to cover up his failure. He was doomed to be a failure without past. Everyone knows that this is wrong, but on second thought it seems to be right. Just like making mistakes, plus punishment equals obedience, and obedience seems to be nothing wrong. But when we delve into the answer, we find that both results are wrong. Matthew was miserably designed by the director. This may be telling us one of the things about smelling a woman, that the right path is too hard to take. The road is doomed to be bumpy, but the road is full of people, and there will always be people who go on the right road bravely regardless of the consequences, leaving a shallow trace for them. A good teacher can make you avoid some detours, a good software can guide you in some directions, understand the Car Emperor can compare the differences between the car series, bring you objective practical tests, and also help you have a more comprehensive understanding of the car. No commentary.